So the new family of recommenders at Marfeel are powered by AI. And yeah, those recommenders are gonna be really good to cover, the sidebars, the below article, is that our recommenders can do user personalization. So imagine, and we will do this live, that if I'm a user interested on Microsoft stocks, Tesla stocks, and NVIDIA stocks, whenever I go into the homepage, the system is gonna make recommendations to me based on my profile, based on what I'm interested in. And we will be able to put in place via no code, full personalizations. So yeah, let's look into it. And I'm going to explain how old-fashioned recommenders work. Most of them, even new ones that keep appearing, do things based on something called lexical similarity. So lexical similarity most of the times counts words, right? So I speak about New York, and yeah, that's a term. And but the thing is that if it appears 3 times in an article, it says New York 3 times. And then if I search for New York, what it does is just look at how many times, which are the articles with the highest amount of or the most appearances on it, and just comes back with the results. The problems with this approach is that, yeah, New York can be New York, it can be NY, it can be NYC, and it can be like written in many different ways and still being the same thing. So this is why, yeah, those systems have evolved just a little bit, and instead of relying on words and counting words, they rely on entities, okay? And an entity might have synonyms, and then, yeah, it can be connected into a knowledge graph, and it allows us to be a little bit more clever, right? So instead of saying NY and New York is the same thing, and this can be addressed by entities. But yeah, that's not good enough. So coolest recommenders in town, also known as Marfeel, we are using semantic similarity. By semantic similarity, what I mean is what I was saying. In the end, there are like 1,000 ways to say the same. I can be saying or communicating the same thing in Chinese or in English. Language is completely different, but the meaning and the essence is exactly the same. So how can we abstract this? Okay, so this is what the nowadays very like hyped models or transformer models do. Okay, so this is the foundational part of a ChatGPT, and yeah, what it does is that given a statement like Feline friend says, it goes through the model, and the model comes up with a set of numbers. Those numbers are like vectors. You remember, like when you first say algebra class, they told you, yeah, you've got X, Y, and Z as 3 different dimensions. It's a vector with 3 dimensions. Okay, good. So any text can be translated into vectors. And you will see that I'm going to be changing a little bit those texts, and the vectors are going to slightly change. So for example, here I'm speaking about felines, bovines, and canines, but yeah, they are all animals. So then the vectors have been changing, but still they share several things in common. So how do we know that, yeah, buddies and friends is the same kind of concept, slightly different, but slightly the same as well? How do we know that those things have, I don't know, some similarity? So yeah, welcome to the vector space. I have to say that we have all your articles, even if you have like millions of articles, we have them all. We translate them into vectors. We are working with models with more than 2,000 dimensions. And each dimension encodes something. Then this is how we see your articles at Marfeel. We put them in a space. We reduce to 3 dimensions so we can visualize them as human beings. And all in a sudden, we can create different clusters. And even just using basic distances, we click on an article. Each of those things is an article. I can click, and the system tells me what has some kind of similarity, taking into consideration the 2,000 dimensions that we are encoding on each of the articles. So think about Marfeel moving forward as a really good tool to start looking at your articles, and we will start helping you finding patterns that up until now have been hidden.